Hari Om. In this part, we will explore the meaning of the 21st shloka of Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam. Marichir damano hamsaha suparno bhujagottamah hiranyanabha sutapaha padmanabha prajapatihi. Now, let's examine the meaning of this shloka. Marichihi means a ray of light. Sri Adi Shankara explains it by saying Tejasvinam Abhitejastvat, meaning he is the source of brightness for those who are bright. In the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says Tejasvinam Aham, meaning I am the brightness in the bright. All objects that radiate light are mainly reflecting Bhagavan's glory. Sri Parasara Bhattar interprets this nama to indicate that Bhagavan reveals himself to his devotees through the eye of their devotion, even though they can't see him through their natural eye. There are many instances in the Puranas where Bhagavan had blessed his devotees with Divya Drishti. For example, he blessed several of his devotees like Surdas, Kuratharvan, Dhritarashtra, Arjuna, et al. With Divya Drishti to be able to enjoy the blissful sight of him. In an article in Dharmachakram, it is said that this guna of Bhagavan should enthuse us to seek the ray of light that will help us to meditate on him. We can achieve this by controlling our indriyas or senses, which then converts the body's energies into mental energy. Then by controlling the mind, this energy can be converted into light, giving us clarity of mind, which will help us to realize him. A different interpretation is given by Sri Satyadeva Vasishtha for this nama. The word Marichi is derived from Mri Pranatyage, meaning to die or perish. He interprets Marichi as one who destroys. Since it is one of Bhagavan's functions to destroy the beings he creates, he is Marichihi. To support this, he gives the example from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 27. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur, dhruvam janna mritasya cha. Meaning, for one who has taken his birth, death is certain, and for one who is dead, birth is certain. He also quotes from the Atharva Veda, Prajanam Adipatihi. Damanaha means one who metes out justice. The word Damanaha is derived from the root Dam Upashame, meaning to tame. Damayati iti Damanaha means one who exercises order and discipline amongst his subjects. Sri Adi Shankara explains this as Swadhikarat Pramadhyatihi Praja Damayitum Shilamasya Vaivasvatadi Rupena iti Damanaha. By assuming the form of Yama, the Terminator, he subdues those who are infatuated with their own power and ego, and hence he is called Damanaha. He controls and punishes those who swerve from their dharma. Damayitum silam yasya sad damanaha. People can get afflicted from three sources, namely Adhyatmikam, which is self-inflicted, Adhibhautikam, from other beings including animals, and Adhidevikam, which means acts of God like earthquake, tsunami, floods, etc. Sri Parasara Bhattar interprets this nama to indicate that he helps his devotees to overcome their sufferings from such afflictions of samsara, the material world, through his guiding light, Kanti Mandakini Bihi Bhavatapam Dayati iti Damanaha. Sri Krishna Datta Bharadwaj gives this interpretation. Damyati Upashamayati Kanti Kiranaihi Upasayanam Manasthapam iti Damanaha. Meaning, he removes the sorrows in the minds of his devotees through his radiance when they meditate on him. Swami Chinmayananda explains that the Damana aspect of Bhagavan is responsible for controlling the demonic impulses within each one of us. In the form of pain and agitation, sorrow and death, it is he who controls all the negative tendencies in everyone's heart. The author in Dharmachakram notes that when one does not follow the sattvic principles, one suffers from diseases and mental agony. These are all acts of Bhagavan to discipline the person with the intent of helping the person learn and realize the right path. This is his act of Damana. In the form of the 10 incarnations, he also has controlled the horrific tyrannies of the vicious against the good. Hamsaha means one who removes the fear of samsara. Sri Adi Shankara gives two different explanations for this nama. The first one being Aham sa iti tadatmya bhavinaha samsara bhayam hanti iti hamsaha. He is called Hamsaha because he annuls the fear of samsaram from those who realize that they are nothing but the Absolute. This Aham Brahmasmi supports the Advaita philosophy. The second, Hanti Gacchati Sarva Sharireshu iti va Hamsaha, meaning he is called Hamsaha because he moves in all beings and bodies. Hamsaha can also be looked upon as a reference to the incarnation of Bhagavan as a swan. The legend goes, when all the seven worlds were immersed in darkness because of all kinds of conflicting and contradictory beliefs, Brahma and all the Devas prayed to Lord Narayana. He appeared in the form of a Hamsa or swan and gave them the knowledge of the path of Dharma or righteousness. Hamsa is believed to be capable of separating milk from water and drinking only the milk and leaving the water behind. Hamsa is also noted for its beauty, especially for its graceful walk. Bhagavan is Hamsa in that he is everything that is good and devoid of anything that is not good. He is also Hamsa for his beauty in thoughts, words and deeds. Suparnaha means one who has beautiful wings. Suparnaha has two meanings. First, one who has beautiful wings, and the second, one who can lead devotees across the ocean of samsara. Parna basically means a wing or an aspect of a leaf. In the first sense, the explanation is Shobhanam Parnam Yasya Asti iti Suparnaha, meaning one who has beautiful wings. He is Suparnaha because he carries his devotees across the ocean of samsara to the shore. In Srimad Bhagavatam it says, Siddheshwaranam Kapilaha Suparnoham Patatrinam. Among the Siddhas I am Kapila and among the birds I am Garuda. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 30, Bhagavan says, Mriganam cha mrigendroham vainateyascha pakshinam, meaning, among beasts I am the lion, their king, and among the birds I am Garuda, the son of Vinatha. Thus, Suparna is interpreted as referring to his being the best of the best in all that exists. In the Mundaka Upanishad it says, Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya Samanam Vriksham Parishvajate Tayoranyah Pippalam Swadvanti Anasnan Anyo Abhichakashiti, meaning a pair of white-winged birds, extremely friendly to each other, sit on the same tree. While one eats the fruits, the other does not eat and simply gazes on. The deeper meaning of this is that the Jivatma eats the fruits of actions and the Paramatma just gazes on as a witness. Sri Radha Krishna Shastri refers to one as the great enjoyer or Perinbam and the other as the great knower or Perarivu. Vishnu is thus all-experiencing principle of consciousness. Bhagavan is the sum total of the two, hence he is called the Suparnaha. This nama can also be related back to the previous nama of Hamsa incarnation with beautiful wings. Bhujagottamaha means the master of the serpent Adisesha, also known as Ananta, and Vasuki. Bhujaga means a snake because Bhujena Gacchati iti Bhujaga, meaning it moves by crawling on its arms. Uttama means the highest, so Bhujagottamaha means the highest among snakes. So he is the embodiment of great serpents like Adisesha and Vasuki. Uttama can also mean one who is above. Here it refers to Bhagavan who is reclining on top of the Adisesha. He is the Seshi or the Lord of the Sesha. The nama could also refer to Ananta. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 29, Bhagavan says, Anantaschasmi Naganam, meaning he is reclining on Ananta, the serpent, as the couch. According to Sri Satyadeva Vasishtha, this nama is based on the root word Bhuj Kautilya, meaning to bend or to curve. He points out that Bhagavan is Bhajagottamaha because he is the best of all that bends and moves. This includes air, birds, snakes, etc. Hiranyanabaha means one who supports in his navel the Creator. The literal meaning of this is one who has a beautiful navel with a golden hue. This can be interpreted in two ways. The first is Hiranyamiva Kalyani Nabihi Asyaiti, meaning he has a navel auspicious like gold. It is auspicious because it is the birthplace of Brahma, who is the creator of all beings. The other meaning is Hita Ramaniya Nabhitvat Hiranyanabaha. He has a benevolent and beautiful navel. Here it refers to the navel that is great by having created the Chaturmukha Brahma, who is also well versed in Chaturvedas. Brahma gets his greatness because he creates all the beings, thus giving them the opportunity to reveal their greatness. This great Brahma was born out of the navel of Vishnu. Thus the greatness of the navel that bore Brahma is evident. Sutapaha means one who has supreme knowledge. This is a combination of Su meaning good and Tapaha meaning penance. So Sutapaha means someone who performs supreme penance. Sri Adi Shankara interprets this nama as Badrikashrame Naranarayana Rupena Shobhanam Tapascharati Iti Shutapaha, meaning he is called Shutapaha because he practices sublime penance in the forest of Badrika in the form of Nara and Narayana. The penance is as defined in the Brahma Puranam, which says, Manasascha Indriyanam cha ekagrayam paramam tapaha, meaning penance is nothing but the integration of mind with the senses. Sri Parasara Bhatta defines tapas as knowledge, and therefore this nama is interpreted by him as the one who possesses supreme knowledge. Swami Chinmayananda quotes the following from the Upanishad to support his interpretation. Satapaha taptva idameta dasrijat, meaning he did penance and out of his penance this world was created. Sri Satyadeva Vasishtha interprets tap to mean the ability to bear. He gives the example of a mother bearing the strain of an unborn child for 9 months, just so that she can bring out the child to this world. Similarly, Bhagavan's Shutapa, or his bearing of the tejas of the sun, so that it can be a life source for the world without burning them with its excessive heat. So, Bhagavan is Mahatapasvi. The author in Dharma Chakram points out that the strength derived from tapas is more powerful than any other strength, and gives the example of how Vishwamitra's army was powerless against Vasishtha's Tapo Shakti. It was through tapas that Vishwamitra ultimately attained Brahmanyana, and it was through tapas that Dhruva attained the immortal position. Lord Vishnu is tapas incarnate, or Shutapaha, and thus guides his devotees in the path of tapas. Now let's look at the legend of Naranarayana. Naranarayana were the twin brother incarnation of Lord Vishnu on earth. The twins were the sons of Dharma and his wife Murti. They lived at Badrika, performing severe austerities and meditation for the preservation of Dharma or righteousness. In the concept of Naranarayana, the human soul Nara is the eternal companion of the divine Narayana. The legend of Naranarayana is also told in the scripture Bhagavata Purana. It is believed that the pair dwell at Badrinath, where the most important Badrinath temple stands. It is also said that there are many sacred spots of pilgrimage in the heavens, earth and the netherworld, but there has been none equal to Badrinath, nor shall there be. Badrinath is situated in the Theri Garhwal hill tract in Uttarakhand at a height of about 10,200 feet. The beginning of Guru Shishya Parampara is supposed to have its roots here. This is symbolized by two range of mountains, the Nar range of mountains representing the individual soul, Jivatma, and the Narayana range of mountains on which side the temple is situated, representing the supreme reality, the Paramatma. These forms were used to convey the Ashtakshara mantras, Vedas and their importance. The river Alaknanda is considered to be one of the most sacred rivers that divides the two ranges of mountains. Krishna and Arjuna are often referred to as Nara and Narayana in the Mahabharata and are considered part incarnations of Narayana and Nara respectively. In their previous life, the duo were born as the sages Nara and Narayana, and who performed great penances at the holy spot of Badrinath. The sages defeated a demon called Sahasra Kavacha, or one with 1,000 armors. Legend has it that once Lord Shiva tried to bring the fame of Nara and Narayana before the world. To do that, he hurled his own potent weapon, Pashupati Astra, at the meditating rishis. The strength of their meditation was so intense that the Astra lost its power before them. Lord Shiva stated that this happened since the duo were jnanis of the first order, constantly in the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, or eternal trance. Padmanabha means one who controls or rules over knowledge. Sri Adi Shankara has given two interpretations for this nama. The first, Padmamiva Suvartula Nabhihi Asyaiti, meaning he has a navel as beautiful as a lotus. Second, Hridaya Padmasya Nabhav Madhye Prakashanat Padmanabhaha, meaning he is called Padmanabhaha as he is shining like a lotus in everyone's heart. In fact, the seat of the heart is called Anahata Chakra and Bhagavan is positioned there. Here, Nabhi means the center rather than navel. Also, it is noteworthy that when a lotus blossoms, it attracts the bees and other insects towards it. Similarly, Bhagavan as Padmanabhaha attracts all the jivas towards him. Lotus is the most beautiful and majestic of flowers. So also is Padmanabhaha as an embodiment of beauty and majesty. Sri Satyadeva Vasishtha gives additional insight into this nama from yet another perspective. Padmam also means knowledge. Padyate jnanate anena padmam jnanam, meaning one who is the center or reservoir of knowledge, or one who controls and rules over knowledge, is Padmanabhaha. Prajapatihi means the father of all beings. As Adi Shankara puts it, Prajanam Patihi Pita Prajapatihi. He is called Prajapatihi because he is the father of all creations. Patihi also means the Lord or the leader. He is the supreme Lord of all beings. He creates, protects and destroys them when the time comes. Hari Om Tat Sat.